I want you to make a guess. Are these symptoms of ADHD or of burnout? Lack of motivation, inability to deal with stress, emotional outbursts, and poor eating habits. Now, because I'm a tricksy little goblin, these are actually symptoms of both, which is why it can be so hard to identify whether something is our ADHD or if we're actually burnt out. So today, let's talk about it. While it does sound like I was just snorting Coca-Cola in the bathroom, I'm just sick. So if you hear that and I'm sniffling a lot, that is why. This energy is ADHD, baby, nothing else. The reason I think this is so important to talk about is because I myself had struggled so many times throughout my life understanding whether I'm burnt out or if I'm just not managing my ADHD symptoms appropriately. But the important thing is that these two things have different treatments. Your ADHD symptoms require a set of things for you to do, and being burnt out require a set of things to do. And so if you don't understand which is causing your main challenges at the moment, it's gonna be really hard to tackle it and overcome it.
This week's video is sponsored by Babbel. Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world. Its intuitive lessons help you learn a language through real-life conversations. I went to Italy last year and I wish so badly that I had Babbel before that so that I could learn how to ask to go to the washroom instead of doing a potty dance to everyone. Having hot Italian men laugh at me every time I was asking to go to the washroom will forever be a moment I cringe at.
We got lost, so we went into a gas station to ask for help, and he spoke French, so Em was able to ask, but he was like, you know, do you speak French? And Em goes, si.
It was so avoidable. I struggle so badly with memorization, which is why I hated French class in school, because that's all that it was, but Babbel makes their lessons fun, easy to follow, and interesting. Babbel teaches real-world conversations and lessons that can prepare you to have practical conversations about travel, business, relationships, and more. And not just random things like what the word is for spoon. It's coulier in French? Yep. And I get it. Learning something new, especially a new language, is hard. If your New Year's resolution motivation has faltered in the past, Babbel has got your back. It has expert-crafted lessons, addictive games, immersive podcasts, and even live classes. And they're all designed for you to be able to have real-world conversations. Babbel offers a number of different types of subscriptions, and thank you, Babbel, for sponsoring this video.
So let's start doing some definitions. Let's break down the 3 different types of ADHD. The first one is most commonly found in women. This is inattentive ADHD. The main signs of inattentive ADHD are having a short attention span and being easily distracted, making careless mistakes, for example in schoolwork, appearing forgetful or losing things, being unable to stick to tasks that are tedious or time-consuming, appearing to be unable to listen to or carry out instructions, constantly changing activities or tasks, and having difficulty organizing tasks. The reason that this is so easy to be misdiagnosed or not even diagnosed at all is because it's not hyperactive, it's not always outward, it's inattentiveness. This all exists in the brain. If you have inattentive ADHD, you might have been called lazy time and time again, when really the inner monologue is like,
I need to go do this thing, why am I not doing this thing? I really need to get up now, why am I not doing it?
But you do that for like 45 minutes to 12 hours. I don't know, it could be a really long time. That is inattentive ADHD. The reason that this can look like burnout when you have inattentive ADHD is because it can look like lying in bed or being on the couch all day. It's inattentive ADHD, babe. You need some work, you need some tools, you need some accommodations, you need to work on this to get better at it. I'm a girl's girl, but I want to vomit anytime a girl calls me babe. And I just did that to an entire audience. Ugh. Who have I become? The second type of ADHD is hyperactivity. We often see this in young boys. A lot of the times when people think of ADHD, they think of this type of ADHD. Why? Because it's external. It's very obvious visually how it's showing up. So here are the main signs of hyperactive ADHD. Being unable to sit still, especially in calm or quiet surroundings, constantly fidgeting, being unable to concentrate on tasks, excessive physical movement, excessive talking, being unable to wait their turn, acting without thinking, interrupting conversations, and little or no sense of danger. Now, this type of ADHD doesn't necessarily look like burnout because hyperactivity looks like an excess of energy, whereas burnout often looks like a lacking of energy. So it's a little bit easier to identify that this isn't burnout. Now, the last type of ADHD, it's the type of ADHD I got blessed with, which is combined, which means you have both. You have this hyperactivity that is external, but you also have this internal hyperactivity, and that's the inattentiveness. Having both can make it really hard to know if you have burnout or not. I know for myself, when my hyperactivity is higher, I feel as though I'm in a better spot because my energy is more, I'm able to do more things because I just feel like I've got so much more to do. I'm able to bounce around and do a bunch of things. But when my inattentiveness presents more and I'm stuck on the couch and I'm just lying there and I can't do anything and I want to do it, but I can't, I get stuck in the thought of, am I burnt out right now? Is that what's going on? Or am I just not managing my ADHD correctly? Now here's what's really important to know. What causes ADHD? Don't actually put the song in, I get copyright claimed.
The Fitness Gram Pacer test.
If you guessed we don't know, you're right. We don't know what causes ADHD, but a lot of medical professionals theorize that it's hereditary, meaning it has something to do with our genetics. Burnout has a cause. ADHD does not. You just are that way. And so the important thing is with burnout, we can identify the cause and get to the source and manage it. So let's talk about what types of burnout there are and how to identify what the source is that's causing it. The first type of burnout is overload burnout, meaning you are working way too hard at the moment, whether it's work, your personal life, whatever it is, you're putting way too much energy into things at the detriment of your health and your personal life. Maybe you're trying really hard to be successful in your job and it feels as though you need to put all your effort and all your time into this career. And when you get home, you just can't do anything. You can't show up in your relationships. You can't show up for yourself. You just look like sludge. Actually, I bet you look great, but you feel like sludge. Sorry, you're cute. Some of the common ways that this can show up: you overlook your own needs or personal life to fulfill work demands. You invest more than is healthy in your commitment to your career or your ambitions, and you endanger your well-being to achieve your goals. I think we all have experienced overload burnout at one point or another. I'd be shocked if you haven't experienced it at one point. I know I experienced it time and time again with school because I felt as though I had to be the absolute best at it, which meant I need to put all my time and energy into this so that I am the best. But what really happened is that I'd go home and have panic attacks for 8 hours and then go back to school feeling as though I had to do this cycle over and over and over again. The only way that I got out of overload burnout was by dropping out of school. I did that. And it felt great. I'm not telling you to drop out of school, I'm just saying that's what solved it for me. But a lot of the times, what we can do about overload burnout to manage this is by understanding what our workload is that is achievable. How much are we actually able to do before it starts hurting us? This next type of burnout is under-challenged burnout. To be honest, I had never heard of this before researching for this video. Under-challenged burnout is when you don't feel that you are fulfilled by the work that you are doing. Maybe you feel your job doesn't offer you opportunities to develop your abilities, or you feel that your current role is hampering your ability to advance and develop your talents. You just feel stuck. Under-challenged burnout could be considered the opposite of overload burnout. So in overload, it's I gotta do everything. I'm so frantic and overwhelmed, so I gotta do all these things. And underload is I have nothing to do. I have no purpose. Why am I doing this? Different, so different, but also a type of burnout. Zuko is in under-challenged burnout. No one appreciates how hard he naps every day. I'm sorry. So if you are dealing with under-challenged burnout, I think the obvious fix to this is by challenging yourself, finding things that are harder or more exciting or more fulfilling or suit your passions a little bit more. I have been in under-challenged burnout before, and I never knew this until I started researching for this video because I worked at a corporate job where my position really didn't matter. If I wasn't there, everything would have continued the way it continued. I didn't feel a sense of purpose there, and the only way that I started to actually enjoy what I was doing was by asking, can I do this? Can I do this thing? I started running PR events, and that was like the most fulfilling thing ever. The final type of burnout is the worn out type of burnout. This is neglect burnout. Are you being neglected? Yeah, I'm not cuddling you. Oh yeah, you're not the fault. He's been neglected. Oh. Neglect burnout shows up when you feel as though you don't have enough guidance or direction. You feel very floaty or unsure of what you're supposed to be doing. And it can be a feeling of helplessness You might find it hard to keep up with your demands or the expectations that are put onto you. Over time, this type of burnout can make you feel incompetent, frustrated, and really uncertain about yourself, your abilities, and your future. Can you see his penis?
No, the computer's blocking it.
Okay, good. Don't want my son to be starting his OnlyFans here. So these are the 3 types of burnout that I could find that were like medically reviewed as well. But here's the important thing. An ADHD person can deal with their ADHD and also be burnt out. You don't have to just have ADHD or you don't have to just be burnt out. You can have both. Both can happen. Now here's the final piece of the pie that I want to talk to you about, which is so frustrating and annoying, but there is a fun thing called ADHD burnout. Just to make things more complicated, to understand why you're struggling right now, let's talk about this. ADHD burnout is a state of stress that comes from long-term unmanaged ADHD. ADHD burnout often follows a cyclical pattern of stress, overwhelm, and avoidance that can be very difficult to break out of. ADHD burnout can actually also mimic symptoms of anxiety or depression. So to just make it even harder to know what's going on, you might think that maybe you've been feeling depressed recently. It might be ADHD burnout. Maybe your symptoms have been so unmanaged for so long that you are now feeling lost and exhausted and frustrated and annoyed, and you don't know how to get out of that pattern. So this is the ADHD burnout cycle. It starts with some sort of commitment and you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed. ADHD then interferes. Your symptoms make it hard to focus and follow through, and stress builds up, making you feel even more overwhelmed and stressed, which causes us to reach out to unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as avoidance, procrastination, self-medication of sorts, and finally, that leads us to withdrawal, quitting, giving up on tasks, withdrawing. And it goes back in this cycle over and over again. This cycle can happen very quickly with something, but it can also take years to make it through that entire cycle. This is ADHD burnout. So my hope is, at this point, after hearing about all the different types of ADHD, about hearing all the different types of burnout, about hearing about ADHD burnout specifically, you might be identifying with one more than others. Maybe you're realizing in this video,
I have ADHD burnout. What the f do I do about it?
let me tell you. Sort of. I'm gonna give you hints on what to do. It's already a long video, so I need to okay, here's a go. If you are in ADHD burnout, one of the best things you can do is to have accountability, to break that cycle, because that cycle often happens entirely internally and you're not aware of it. And so if you have some sort of accountability, like a therapist, like an ADHD coach, like a support group, you can vocalize out loud, I keep doing this keeps happening. Bless you. And you can have someone say to you, maybe instead of avoiding this time, maybe you need to face it head on. Oh, cycle is broken. That's all you need. So accountability is the biggest way to fix ADHD burnout. If you are managing your ADHD quite well right now, but you're still burnt out, something that might be supportive for you is my program. The Burnout Recovery Program. It's $15 and it's right here or in the description. Also, I also made this video that talks about different types of rest. It's so important to understand how to rest while you're in burnout. That program is designed to help you figure that out, but there are also free resources like my rest video that is already up on my channel. Now, if your ADHD is poorly managed and it's causing symptoms that mirror burnout, the best thing you can do is understand your diagnosis. I know for myself, before I really understood that I was both hyperactive and inattentive, I would villainize myself and get upset at myself and beat myself down, and that wouldn't help at all. What I really needed to do was learn the basics of how to take care of my basic needs. How do I eat food as an ADHD person? How do I drink water every day as an ADHD person? How do I make sure I shower and really take care of myself? Now, those things might sound easy for a lot of people. It's not necessarily for us. And so my suggestion for you, if I can plug my things again, is I do have an $8 workshop called Back to Basics to help you with that. But I'm putting it out there as an option because I love you and money. No. So now that I have shamelessly plugged all of my programs and things, I am so Can I like have a moment by myself? Yeah, take a nap there, dude. All good. I have built camera whores for animals. So from me and my sons to you, thank you for coming and trying to learn how to take care of yourself. That's a hard thing to do. It's a really uncomfortable first step. So if nobody has told you yet today, I am so proud of you for taking care of yourself and for putting in the effort to learn about yourself and to try to manage those ADHD symptoms and that burnout, because nobody else is gonna do it for you. So it's pretty fucking cool that you're doing it for yourself. As always, I love you dearly. Sorry, I got lost in your eyes for a moment. Thanks for watching. I love you. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Okay, bye.